Hi, John here. Now when I first started putting up videos on YouTube, I did a series on the purpose of life and the meaning of life. And I was down the supermarket the other day and I was thinking about something, and I thought, wow, well, what series could that fit into? I know, could fit into the meaning of life, my meaning of life series. So this is number 3 in the meaning of life. Now, my mother my mum died about 7 years ago, and she was 78 at the time. And of course I've got memories of her going back to when she was about 35, 33, 35, something like that. And of course she changed from the age of 35 to being a beautiful young woman, well, what should I say, woman, to being sort of not. She was never really old, but she was. You've got to say somebody is 78 is elderly. Well, one of the things that happened to her, well, she did shrink a bit. She shrank about 4 inches, so that changed perspective. But also, when she was younger, she had dark hair, and she used to have it curled up at the bottom. Quite often, she used to do it herself, or go to the hairdressers and have it curled up. But then when she got a bit older, she let her hair go grey. I think she let her hair go grey. Anyway, it was if it was dyed, it wasn't dyed very dark, and she didn't bother. I don't think she bothered having it with the curlers. And she's got small one, of course, and the body shape had slightly changed. Sometimes when I'm going out and about, like in Dorchester, I'll see somebody and I think, God, it looks like my mum. And I think, well, maybe it was mum. And then I thought, well, no, I know it wasn't mum. But then you sort of think, well, it'd be nice to talk to that person and just see whether she is like the mum. But very unlikely that she would be, or she may not even be understanding if I said to her, you know, look, you look like my mum that's died. And quite often these people who I see about Dorchester who remind me of my mum will be doing the same sort of things. They'll have a trolley, maybe a wheelie trolley, and they'll be doing a few buying a few groceries from the shops. And I think, well, that's what, you know, mum did. You know, she was worth more than that. She was worth more than buying a few odd groceries and that sort of thing. But then I think, well, that's what I'm doing. You know, that's what life is. You know, wheeling your trolley through and buying a few odd groceries and keep sustaining oneself and those around you. John Lennon famously said, life is what happens whilst you're busy making plans. Well, John Lennon's life was extraordinary, wasn't it? And I think when he had that, was it about 5 years he had off before the before his last album? I mean, that isn't very long in retrospect. You know, 5 years soon goes by. Then maybe he was making plans still, but no, he didn't really have time to settle. It's not whilst life isn't what you're making plans for most people, because most people have time to make their plans and then live their plans. You have the idea, and then you do the thing, and then you reflect upon the thing. You know, whether it's building a greenhouse or whatever. You know, when you're young, you tend to think have sort of grand plans about what one is going to do in life, or what one could do. And most of these plans are constrained by financial restraints, and then you get into a position where you think, well, when I've earned sufficient money, then I can retire, and then I can live my dream. Not particularly good way of living, I wouldn't say. And better to try and live one's dream whilst you are earning a little bit of money, or whatever, whilst you are sustaining yourself in whatever way you do. Now, there's a movement, isn't there? The sacrament of the present moment, or living in the present moment. I've never quite got my head around it. Yeah, okay, we do have to live in the present moment, but also you have to take on board one's 70 years and 10, don't you? That you are going to, that's the quantity of life you're getting, and then through the stages, one needs to, I can't say appreciate it, but more live it, live the stages. Because within that 70 years and 10, there's no, well, there will be various sort of nirvana moments, but you're not going to suddenly arrive at a plateau where there's not going to be any downs, and it's just going to be ups. There's always going to be a mixture of ups and downs, and you know, try and live a fulfilled life within these ups and downs. But going back to my mother, I mean, she was somebody who read a lot, but like both of my parents, and possibly my father's parents, my grandparents on my father's side, they both had this sort of deferential side, that they would always think that there was we were one sort of people, and then there was another sort of educated people who and these educated people knew something, and if we knew what they knew, then we would be enlightened, and in a way, Mum was always searching for that thing a little bit, not always, but quite a lot of the time. I remember once she said, we were talking about the hippie movement, and she said, I knew it wasn't going to go anywhere. You know, I knew it would just flop. So she was very wise, and she didn't want to be old and be dependent upon other people. She didn't want to end up in old people's home. That was her biggest fear. She was quite keen on service. She was keen to serve all the time, to serve. But then she did have this sort of inquiring and what you might call it intellectual side, where she would read quite serious books, and but I could never quite understand why she wasn't willing to sort of go into that old people's home and sort of just live in her thoughts, because that would have been quite a well, for me it would be quite an interesting challenge, not a challenge, privilege one might say. But she didn't have that chance anyway, because she had cancer, and she, you know, she wasn't physically ill for a long time. She just died. She didn't die bitter. You know, she kept saying, "Oh, I've had a good life, and you know, I just let me die." And you know, I couldn't help thinking, well, you deserved more. You know, I wish you'd have had chance to explore that more intellectual side a little bit more, but she felt she was fulfilled. She'd just finished her memoir, and that perhaps that summed it up. Maybe it's not a good idea to write a memoir, because then then you think your life is finished. So she didn't, as I say, she didn't die bitter. She was very grateful for life and the chance for life and all the experiences. So coming back to the meaning of life, you know, and me pushing my supermarket trolley around and seeing these other people pushing their trolley, and some of them, you know, you think, well, I'm just pushing my trolley, you know, and is this life? Well, yeah, it is life. It's not all of life, you know, but also that part of life is good, because you know, it's nothing worse than somebody who's manic all the time. Wants to be doing this, wants to be doing that, wants to be going out doing the other. You know, search. They're on this massive search, this I don't know, adrenaline junkie. Life is for living, but it's just. I mean, one of the things about history and living in a place with history is that you can imagine what people used to live like, and you know, without computers, television, telephone, transport. You think, well, that's gone on for generations, and you know, if you can key into that a little bit more, surely it's far better than spending 10p a mile driving about all over the countryside going nowhere. Yeah. So that's what I say. Life, the meaning of life is to live it, but live it just normal live it. 70 years and 10 or 4 if we have strength.